Hello, everybody. I'm Ken Francis. I am located in Long Beach, California. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm a kayaker. I love to camp and hike, and I have been cycle touring since I was 13 years old, and I have been with Warm Showers since 2013. Well, let me start with talking about the bicycle touring aspect of it, because I started touring when I was 13 and I'm 62 today. And it's really been something that impacted me because I was very sheltered growing up. And my first bike tour was with a local church group, and it got me out of the house and it got me to explore the world. And I knew it was something that I wanted to do when I got older. In the early 80s, I started doing overnight tours and ended up riding my bike cross country a few times, and just really made me kind of think about what I wanted to do with my life. All that time on the road and with the different people that I met just totally changed my life. I changed my careers, and I knew I wanted to have a career working with people based on the experiences I had from my bicycle. And I continued cycling for many, many years, and I heard about Warm Showers, and it wasn't until I felt like I had a place that had accommodations that I would feel comfortable hosting people with that I actually signed up with Warm Showers. And because cycling and the cycle touring community has impacted my life so much, I started volunteering, and my volunteer task in the beginning was to review all new memberships. And I got a spreadsheet every day that had all the new memberships, and I was just looking for spammers. And I would say back then there were maybe 30 new people signing up a day. So I got in kind of at the time where Warm Showers was transitioning from just being in the United States to being a lot more international. And in time, these daily emails that I got would be up to maybe 200 new members a day. And I was invited in the beginning when they started the Warm Showers board, I was invited to join the board. And I sat on the board with Warm Showers for 5 years. And I've really enjoyed giving back to this community. Here in Long Beach with my partner, I have hosted over 300 cyclists. I've totally enjoyed being able to be a part of this community and to continue to be a part of this community, whether I'm on the road, still touring, or whether I'm hosting here in Long Beach, because it keeps me connected. It keeps me grounded. Both being on the road and hosting just keeps me connected. And I really enjoy the connections that I've made. I've made connections back in the 80s that I still hold dear to me. I just came back from Pennsylvania, where I visited people that I met back in 1986. And I enjoy making new connections through Warm Showers, whether I'm touring or hosting. On my first long tour, I met a guy about my age who had started in Quebec, Canada, and he was riding across Canada and decided when he got to the Pacific Coast, he wanted to continue down to California. And I met him on my first tour from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And we stayed in communication, and he really inspired me to do more touring. And that's when I started riding my bike cross country. And when I came back from one of my trips, as it would turn out, the day I came back, he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm in San Bernardino. I'm going to be coming through your area soon. Can I stay with you guys?" And I was living with my parents at the time, and trying to get them to take a total stranger in was really kind of a big thing. I had to remind them about all the people that had taken me in on my prior 2 cross-country trips. And so I kind of equate him being like the first person that I hosted. So I had a really good experience in hanging out with him. And, we talk bike. Some people talk French, some people talk English. I talk bike. And I really enjoyed the camaraderie I had with him. And that was something that really stuck in my mind. So in signing up for Warm Showers, I really wanted to give back to the community. And with Warm Showers, it's a spectrum. You get people that are young that are touring, late teens, early 20s. Some people are families with young kids. You have seniors like me that are touring. It is a whole spectrum. And I love meeting everybody wherever they are in the spectrum, especially the people that are just starting out and just trying to find out who they are. When I was cycling cross country on the very first trip, my traveling companions were struggling and having difficulties, and one had already dropped out. The second was contemplating dropping out, and there was an older gentleman at a church service in Yellowstone who came up to me after the service and handed me $20. And back in 1985, $20 was, a huge part of a budget that could last me a couple days. And he said, "Here, have lunch on me today. I believe in young people and I believe in you." And I was so humbled by this. And I always got people's addresses and told anybody who helped me out, I would send you a postcard at the end of the trip to let you know that I made it there safely. And he said, "No, that's not necessary. I believe in young people and I believe in you." And I try to carry that on. So that man lives in me today. And I believe in young people and I believe in helping people on their journey to find themselves. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy hosting with Warm Showers. As a psychotherapist, I talk a lot about balance and having different areas of your life. And I would say that one slice of my life is Warm Showers, and it's over the year grown into a very big slice of my life. When I sat on the board of directors, most of us were in North America, United States, Canada. That was somebody who was in Switzerland. I made it a point whenever possible to meet these people in person. So I met the board chair in Toronto, Canada. I met another board member in Switzerland. I stay in contact with many of these people today, even though I have not been on the board in over 5 years. Hosting people, I am in contact with a lot of my former guests, and many of them I have visited and stayed with them. And that is one thing I really love about this community, is how it originally was designed to be reciprocal hospitality. And it's at its peak when the people that you open your doors to open their doors to you. There's a couple in Germany that were here, I think 3 times. They kept looping around. Their visa had not expired and they had some extra time. So they actually stayed here on this trip like 3 different times. And they kept saying, "Come visit us in Germany." And I looked at the map, and the part of Germany where they lived was just not anywhere I'd ever thought I would be. But as things turned out, I ended up flying into Copenhagen one year and headed towards Berlin, and they were right on the way, and had an amazing time with them. Still in contact with them. In fact, they've been back here in Long Beach since then, and I'm planning to see them this summer. There's a host outside of Amsterdam who I keep trying to get to come here and travel the Pacific coast, and life keeps getting in the way for her. But I have visited her 4 times now and hope to go back and see her a 5th time. If you're looking back at me and you see all this bright tile, there's a host in Tijuana who hosted me on many, many occasions while I went down there to explore and get the tile and bring it back. So there's a big Warm Showers story as far as their kitchen remodel here and all the tile that you see. And good friends, just really, really good friends. And some of the connections I've made with Warm Showers are local hosts, reaching out with other local hosts and just sharing stories, seeing, how different people host differently. One local host has a rule that they only host for one night, and they make that really clear from the beginning. Other hosts, have a different style of doing things. So just having really close friends, and some of my friends who are cyclists, I've also got to join up and be Warm Showers hosts. So that's more connections here in the local area. So I'm really grateful to have these connections and to continue to have them and continue to make more connections as life goes on. Warm Showers really is made up of 2 different things. It's made up of the community and it's made up of the technology. And the technology is kind of the means to the end. The technology is what holds everyone together. And over the years, the technology has changed a lot. And, not all the changes are received by all the members really well. Some people like certain things, some people don't. But when you put the technology aside, the community remains the same. And that's one thing that I hope never changes with Warm Showers, is that core concept of the reciprocal hospitality. The ability to reach out and to step in someone's door or open your door to somebody, and within a matter of minutes, they feel like family. This is the community. This is something that I hope never changes. That there's just something about bicycle tourists and the people that support them. As I said earlier, we can speak bike. And not all the people that host are cyclists. I stayed with a woman one time who was just walking down her country road and saw some bicyclists coming through and stopped to talk to them. And she liked the idea of warm showers and had an extra little kind of apartment in her barn. And she opened that up to warm showers. So she might not be somebody who would speak bike, but she does speak home folk. She's somebody who can speak a welcoming language, love to learn about other people and find what they're doing, and vice versa. So I hope the community never changes. And I hope we as human beings never change beyond really where we are today, at least with our hearts for helping other people out and sharing with each other. I think the biggest piece of advice I'd have for anybody thinking about warm showers is kind of like what your boundaries are, what your limits are, either as a host, what you want, what you expect, as a cyclist, what you want, what you expect. As I get older, I really like to have access to a bathroom in the middle of the night. And that's something that was so important when I was younger. As a host, I want somebody who is on a trip who is self-supporting. If for some reason their next host cancels, I don't want to feel like I'm responsible for them because they have no money and they have nowhere to go. And this is something that has happened before. So to be really clear, and the best way that we can be clear is through communication, whether it be communication on our profile, have a complete bio. Don't just say, I love to bike. I love to welcome my house to people. Be really clear. Who are you? Because if I have somebody who is asking to stay here and they don't have a complete profile, they don't have a picture, I don't know who you are. I live in a busy city. You could be anybody coming through and I have no idea what your intent is. I really want to be able to get a feel of who you are. So please communicate in your profile. Have a great picture that shows who you are and what you're doing and what you're all about. If you're sending a request, please be really clear about what your needs are, who you are, what you're doing. I know when I do trips, I'm really clear, whether I'm traveling by myself, if I'm traveling with my friend Philip, I let the person know that there's two of us that might be coming. Do we have any special needs? A few years ago, I stopped in Williamsburg, Virginia with a host, and I let them know right out the gate I would like to stay 2 nights because I really wanted to go to Busch Gardens and ride roller coasters, and if they were okay with that, because I didn't want them to feel like I was taking advantage of them. I didn't want them to feel like I was outstaying my welcome. I wanted to be really clear up front. And I made sure before I arrived to stop and to bring them a host gift. I wanted people to know, and I still, when I stay with them, that I really appreciate what they're doing. So whether it be a bottle of wine, lately I've been bringing things that are more like pastries or candles or something a little bit more unique like that, just to show appreciation. But the way to communicate is just so important, and leaving feedback is also equally important. And I have a ton of feedback, and some people might think I don't need any more, but I want people to know that I'm still current as a cyclist and I'm still current as a host, regardless of all the other feedback I have, and also kind of what their experience is. I think this really shows that we're still active in what we do, and there are so many profiles on the map that aren't necessarily that active. So by leaving feedback, it's a really good way to communicate to other people. Also, if you're thinking about hosting, contact other hosts in your area. Get to know other hosts. That way, if you get a request and you're not available, you can refer someone else because you know who the people are in your area. I know who the people are, in Santa Barbara, which is maybe like 2 days away. I know who the people are in Ventura, Santa Monica, down the coast, all the way San Diego into Mexico. And it's really helpful because sometimes when cyclists come in and they're feeling lost, maybe there's smoke in the air, maybe there's rain, there's something that they're not expecting, I can help them line up their next host along the way. So that's another thing about communication, is get to know the other hosts in your area. To conclude, I just want to say that, I plan on being around in warm showers for some time to come. I had a cyclist about 10 years ago come through here. And it was about a time in my life where I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm getting old here, probably not going to do too many more tours. And he said to me, Ken, go to Iceland. You will like Iceland. I never thought of Iceland. And I called my friend Philip and said, what do you think of Iceland? And that really kind of regenerated my ability to tour, my outlook, and my enthusiasm about touring. And I think as long as I'm connected with this community, the people that I host are going to give me the energy and the wherewithal to keep touring for many, many more years to come.